As we come together this morning in community, in consciousness, in the allness of God, let us remember there is only ever one infinite divine being, the creative energy of the universe, the principle of life from which all things flow. It is the very breath that we breathe, the essence of our being, divine life and eternal love. It beats within the heart of our soul. And we are each an individualized expression of this magnificent being. Each one of us on our own unique path to spiritual awareness, to the awakening, to the Christ consciousness within that guides, directs, and inspires us to be the very best that we can be, to step into this great gift called life with excitement and enthusiasm. For this and so much more, I say thank you. Thank you, God, for showing us the way, for allowing us our own unique path while remaining connected at the center of our being, to live, to love, and to express as children of God. With love and gratitude in my heart, I release these words to the infinite law of mind. I release, I let go, I trust, and I know that spirit leads the way. And so it is.
Good morning. My name is Sheldon, and I welcome you to our Sunday spiritual experience. We are Verity Centre for Better Living, a New Thought teaching ministry, founded by the Reverend Evan Reed. We are also a member of the Universal Foundation for Better Living. Namaskar. If you are joining us for the first time, it is my pleasure to greet you on behalf of the Board of Directors and our members. It is my hope that something said or done today will make a positive difference in your life. Please know that we accept you, respect you, and appreciate you. If you have any questions or need to find out more about the center, please visit our website at veritycenter.org or follow us on Facebook. We thank you for spending this time with us. Our vision is creating and maintaining a spiritually based community that facilitates enlightenment, enrichment, and empowerment. Our mission is offering spiritually based principles and techniques to those who are seeking to live healthy, happier, and more prosperous lives. Our motto is always verifying the truth, vivifying the spirit, vitalizing the soul. We offer a full range of sacerdotal services, classes, and spiritual coaching. There are also opportunities to be an active part of this community. Please visit our website or contact the office. Please affirm the opening statement with me. It is on your screen. I walk steadily onward toward the one. My path is clear, and I am ready. Ready to love, laugh, play, and rejoice in the glory of God. I follow the path of our way shower, Jesus Christ. Please turn to the page after the center page of your daily inspiration publication, and I will be reading the first 3 core beliefs. They are also on your screen. We believe that it is God's will that every individual on the face of this earth should live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life. We believe that such a life is within the reach of each one of us, and the way to its attainment begins with the realization that the kingdom of God is within us, waiting for us to bring it into expression. We believe that we can bring this kingdom forth by practicing the universal spiritual principles handed down through the ages and taught by our way shower, Jesus Christ. Today's inspirational reading is found on page 61 and will be read by Sienna Murray of the Sunday School.
Good morning. Be willing. Willfulness is about mental force. Willingness is about spiritual flow. In creating your own life, you must not only know what you want, but you must be flexible about the way it comes into form. The flow of life demands flexibility because it is forever seeking to work through the uniqueness that we are. We must be willing to flow with life, for it is filled with opportunities which we cannot recognize or hear when we are determined that our good must happen in an exact way, when we are being willful. Yes, we must know what we want, but we must also be open to letting our inner self reveal pathways we may have overlooked or been unaware of. When we are intent on making it all happen as we have determined, we exclude ourselves from divine wisdom. Letting go of the stubbornness of our ways sets us free to travel on God's highway. Be willing. And the scriptural text is taken from Luke chapter 22, verse 42. And it says, "Not my will, but yours be done." And so it is.
Thank you, Sienna. Please listen to the announcements.
Hey, good morning, Verity family. Here are your morning announcements. The daily call to love meditation continues Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. The link is in the Verity News You Can Use email. To receive the phone-in information, please leave a message at 416-240-1956. Please join us each and every Sunday for meditation before service, 10:35 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Welcome to Verity's Creative Zone, where you can get a chance to display your creativity. Send in some pictures, paintings, images that really just bring you joy. You can also send in a creative video, 3 minutes max, of you showing your skills, or send in some ideas which we can then turn into an event for your Verity community. Send them into verityvibe1@gmail.com, and they will be displayed during fellowship or at a special event coming soon. Who are the people in your Verity neighborhood? Think about that for a second. Now, continue to submit pictures of your past or present along with some of the following facts: hobbies, occupation, interests, so that we can recognize you, celebrate, and have fun with you as well. We're also asking you to send in your birth date or your anniversary dates with or without a picture, completely up to you, so we do not miss your special event during the month. Send all that information to verityvibe1@gmail.com. Once again, verityvibe1@gmail.com. These will be acknowledged at the beginning of each month. The Daily Inspiration Healing Affirmation cards advertised in the center page of the publication are available in the office. Cost is $15 per package of 40 cards. There are now 9 packages available. To purchase a package, please contact the office at 416-240-1956, or you can send an email admin@veritycenter.org. The annual general meeting will be held after service next Sunday, August 15th. If you're unable to attend, please email or phone the office with the name of your proxy. The AGM package has been emailed to membership. Now, if you have not received a copy, please contact the office. For members without email, a hard copy will be made available in the office on Tuesday. This message is from the board of directors, as we continue with this COVID-19 pandemic and we watch as government officials reopen the country and provinces. Verity is also planning to reopen the church. The goal is to reopen for in-person Sunday services starting next month in September, pending, of course, government health and safety restrictions. Online viewing of service will still be offered. Please stay tuned for more details. Spiritual Fitness, the book that will be used for Adventure in Faith, is now available at the office at a cost of $18 each. If it is mailed to you, the total cost will be $23. There are 30 copies, so please email or call the office to reserve your copy today. I'm Shem. Those are your morning announcements.
Thank you, Shem. Let us prepare for a moment of conscious communion with our source and supply.
Healed, healed by the power divine, one with a love sublime. My life now is sweet, and my joy is complete. So I'm healed, healed, healed.
Let's take a moment and be still as we enter into the silence of our mind. Allow our attention to fall to the soft rhythmic sound of the beating of our heart. And know that we are never alone. We are one with each other, with the wholeness of God, with the universal. We call it light. We call it love. We call it absolute good. As we go deeper and deeper into the core of our being, we know that it breathes us, that it is us, that it surrounds us every moment of every day. And from this place of quiet contemplation, let's take a deep, cleansing breath in. And as we breathe it out, let go of anything and all things that preceded this moment in time. And just be present in this infinite now. As we take another deep cleansing breath in and let it go, we know that God's wish for us is that we may live life to our highest and greatest good. Now take a final deep breath in. And as we let it go, we know that we are never alone, that God is with us every step of the way. For each and every one of us is on our unique path, our path of spiritual awakening awareness of the Christ consciousness within, that directs, inspires, and supports us now and each and every moment of every day. When we are opened and receptive, when we seek and we listen with all of our senses, then we know that we come to realize that the answers to our questions are already answered. For it is God that inspires and directs us to think, to act, and to react from a place of divine wisdom. For we are spiritual beings, children of God. And so we are already perfect, whole, and complete. Our journey inward is simply to allow us to open our eyes to the magnificence of who and what we are. But breathe it in. Breathe in the presence of God and know that when we step into and understand the Christ consciousness within, we are allowing our souls to evolve from the inside out. That is when we can do, have, and be anything our hearts desire. For we are always coming from a place of love, inclusion, and acceptance. And bring your attention back to your breath as you slowly and gently begin to bring yourself back to the present, back to this moment in time. And when we feel fully aware and awake, let us open our eyes and just feel the presence of God all around. And so it is.
Healed, healed by the power divine, one with a love sublime. My life now is sweet and my joy is complete. For I'm healed, healed, healed.
The thought for the week is from the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman's work, It Works If You Work It, and it is on your screen. You must remember who God is, and you must remember who you are and what your relationship to God is. God is absolute. God is the creative energy that is the cause of visible things. God is love, wisdom, intelligence, power, substance, and mind. I am an heir of God. I am entitled to all that God has. We will now have a musical selection by Schreiner-Trudel.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make, waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I got to be strong. Just keep pushing out, 'cause there's always gonna be another mountain. Always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes you're gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. Always gonna be another mountain. Always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes you're gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the keep on moving, keep climbing, keep the faith, baby. It's all about the climb. Keep your faith, keep your faith. Whoa.
Thank you, Geneviève. Thank you, Richard. Today's lesson, The Path, will be given by the Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel.
Thank you, Sheldon. Well, it's great to be back. I had a nice little couple weeks off, so enjoying that. So the talk today is the path, and it's important for us to remember that God is the source and substance of all that is. And I think when we begin with that premise, we come to recognize that the path is a constant. Just like in the song The Climb, there's always going to be another mountain. So as we're moving forward in life, what we want to remember is there truly isn't a destination, but what there is a path, a spiritual path that we follow day by day and moment by moment. And it begins with our recognition that God exists, that God is the energy of life itself. God is the power and presence that satisfies and fulfills all things. So we begin there. The other thing we want to remember is that each and every one of us is created, unique, and special. We're all created in the image and of the likeness of God. And because of that, we recognize that we are created perfectly. That how we're created, the people that we are, the energy of life that we bring, all of it is God stuff. And when we begin to recognize that our desires also come from that one source, and the importance of us honoring those desires. So each one of us has come into this life experience with certain attributes, certain, I don't know, a little something, something that we bring that's unique to us, and that only we can bring it in the manner that we do.
So the desires that we have and the journey that we're walking is really important that we pay close attention to what those desires are and how we might manifest them. And I know sometimes we realize that in order to manifest these big dreams that we have, it requires change. And lots of us are not all that fond of change, as we've discovered in the last couple of years, because change has been, wow, constant. So the journey is one where we just take each day and recognize that there is a path. And Jesus, our way shower, taught us that path, showed us the way. And so if we begin to follow the teachings of Jesus, we start to begin to see our own lives unfolding in ways that we never would have completely understood had we not had this, I don't know, this deeper acceptance of a power for good in the universe. So when we look at life, now I know that sometimes things feel hard and difficult, and I know the last 18 months surely have for most of us. The idea of moving forward and being in a position where we're kind of locked in and locked down, how do we move forward? How do we move forward when we're not supposed to leave our homes or connect with family and friends? How do we move forward? Well, this is the perfect opportunity for us to fully develop our spiritual awareness and our consciousness, that Christ consciousness. So when we recognize that God is all there is, right? God is everywhere present, all knowing, all powerful. God is the infinite and the absolute. God is the life that I live, the life that you live. The desires that I have all come from God. And so these desires, it's important that I begin to acknowledge them as gifts and blessings and begin to move forward in that idea. Also, the idea of God as perfect, right? God is perfection, right? The infinite and the absolute. All that is God. So everything comes from it. So if I begin to focus on my desires, my intentions, what I am in fact doing is honoring the life that God has given me, the life that I have as a result of this journey. So I focus on my gifts and talents. Now, I don't need to focus on everybody else's, and I don't need to mind everybody else's business. Okay, really important that I focus on mine. You see, I have the power to think, just like you. I have the ability to create in my mind an image of a life that would honor my gifts and talents and move me forward in grace and goodness, in love and in joy, in peace and well-being, in health and vitality. Each one of us has that. Each one of us has that. But the key is that if I'm focused on you and what you're doing, I'm kind of missing what's happening within me and for me. And sometimes what's coming up can be troubling. So it's important that we begin by going within. I'm the one thinking my thoughts. It is my thoughts that create my reality. And so what I think about me, what I think about my world, what I think about my life matters. So it's important that I mind my own business. It's also important that I'm willing to grow. Remember what Evan would always say is, don't know what I don't know, and we must be teachable. We must be open. Well, this is the key right now, is that we don't know what's coming. We don't know where the world will be in a year or 2 or 3. And pretending we do really is delusional, because we're in unprecedented times. So when we look around us, we have a choice to go, oh, this is bad, this is awful, or it is what it is. It is what it is. Now what? And with a sense of excitement and a bit of a thrill, now what? There's something coming that's brand spanking new. And it's good. I really believe that. I have absolute faith that God is good all the time. And that as a result of that, I have the ability to create in harmony with that universal one, that I can bring about good in my world and then the world around us. So how do we grow, and where does this growth begin? Well, it begins in mind. It begins in consciousness. I must begin where I am. I must be willing to look in the mirror and go, wow, this is what it is. And then to move forward with a sense of possibility and opportunity. What is it that I would like to create in the world? What is it that I would like to create in my life? And how is it that I bring my own unique talents and gifts forward so that the world is actually a better place? Am I serving humanity? And that's a question all of us can ask. Pierre and I had an interesting experience on Friday. We were off to pick up a new car, and we're come off of the DVP onto Richmond, and so traveling westbound on Richmond. And here's an elderly couple walking on that little tiny edge there. It's not a sidewalk because there are no sidewalks there. And here they are walking there, and we're watching cars come flying up off of the DVP onto Richmond. And it really did look very, very dangerous. So we looped around and came back, and then pulled into that first lane and put our flashers on, and mentioned to these people that this is not a good place to walk. And we got them in the car and we drove them to where they were going. And it's interesting because the gentleman had said that he was looking for the hours of his church. They had just moved to a new neighborhood, and they were looking for the Catholic church. And they had found one, and they couldn't find the hours that it was operational. And so they were walking back home, but they had gone in a completely wrong direction. And so drove them around, got them back to where they needed to be, drove by the church, showed them what the hours were for the Catholic church, and then got them. And we were chit-chatting, and the gentleman said, I think God was looking after me today. And I think sometimes we get messages that there's something that we can do for our fellow humans that will not only honor them but honor us as well. And I think every time we do a really good deed like that, we actually not only preserve life in other places, but we send a message of love and appreciation that really honors the individuals, ourselves and others, because we are all one. When we recognize that oneness, right? Jesus taught us to love each other as he has loved us. And that's a really important message. And we will sometimes get an idea, well, I should do this or I should do that. And sometimes we ignore it, don't we? We just go, I'm too tired, I'm too busy, I'm too. But really what we want to do is, as we walk this path, come to recognize that this is the journey, the path. The path is one of allowing ourselves some time in the silence. It's about taking time in prayer and meditation every day that we might commune with God and reveal the incredible gifts and talents that we have, but also be able to see the gifts and talents of those around us, to begin to honor each individual by seeing them for who they really are rather than who we would like them to be. It's time for us to check in with our thinking. You know, I'm the one thinking my thoughts and you're the one thinking yours. Where are those thoughts? Are they along a negative path, or are they excited and delighted and full of love and joy and peace? Like, are you dancing in the street, or are you being kind of staid and proper? Either way is fine, as long as you're honoring your own divine nature. One of the fun things that happened while I was away was to spend time with 3 of my children. One's in Nova Scotia, so he wasn't with us, but with Curtis and Arlene and Genevieve. And we were playing music at Curtis's house, and we were singing, and we were dancing, and we were laughing and joking and just playing. It's been years since we as a family have played like that. And what a joy. I caught some of it on video, and it was very funny. But it was really, really good to just kind of let go. And I wonder if you allow yourself to let go. Do you allow yourself to just be silly sometimes? Do you allow yourself to revel in the glory of God to the point where it just bubbles up inside of you as this immense joy? Life is so filled with possibility, and all we have to do is honor the glory of God, like honor the idea that God is right here, and that having fun, having joy in our lives, singing, dancing, playing, all of this honors the very essence of this divine one. So what is it that we can do to create a world that works in the highest and best good for all concerned? Well, it begins within each one of us. As I begin to honor my life, as I begin to remember that God has created me in its image and likeness, what happens then is I stop judging and criticizing myself as bad and wrong, and begin to see that the way I've been made is actually perfect for the journey that I am walking. Now, it might not be perfect for the journey you're walking, the path that you walk, but it is right for me. As each one of us comes to that place of recognizing our own inherent worth and value, our own gifts and talents, and I mean really honor them, right? As we begin to do that, we begin to free up the energy to begin to manifest things in ways that we had not imagined before. Just like that gentleman, walking on Richmond over the overpass toward the Don Valley Parkway, as he's walking along thinking all is well. There's a call, a universal call that comes. And if we pay attention and if we listen to it, we become the gift to somebody else's path. His experience of God, his experience of life just got elevated because Pierre and I stopped to look after him and his wife. He felt that God was answering his path and helping him on his path. We've all had experiences at one time or another where we've been led in a direction that we never would have thought. I actually was speaking with my brother while I was away, and it's interesting to look at how tragedy sometimes can turn into the best blessings. My brother was in an accident a number of years ago where he was working in a lumber mill, and his arm went into the the bandsaw or whatever it was, this big thing that cut logs, and he lost a good portion of his arm. And it's interesting because at the time they were able to do surgeries and replace nerves and do skin grafts, and he ended up keeping his arm. It's really scarred up, but he kept his arm and he's able to use his hand. So workers' comp, they don't necessarily like to give you lump sum payouts, but they will do a monthly thing. And he was wanting to get custody of his two daughters, his twin daughters. And so he was able to somehow convince workers' comp to give him that lump sum payout, in which he went then and hired a private investigator who was able to prove that the mother of the children was unfit, and he was granted custody. Now, who would have thought this horrible injury that almost took his life, that led to numerous surgeries, immense pain, in the end would be the very thing that saved his child? We look at tragedy and we go, that's a bad thing. But maybe it isn't. Maybe it's the very thing that's moving us in the direction of our greatest desire. Maybe it's the thing that if we would give up the labels and the judgment and our ideas of what's good and what's bad and just go, well, it is what it is. Now what? What's coming? What's next? If we would open our minds to that place where we allow information in rather than closing it because we think we already know the answer. We need to be teachable. And what that means is I open my mind to every possibility. I open my mind that God will fill me with whatever it is I need to understand or accept to move me toward my greatest desire in life. I don't know how it's going to happen. None of us ever do, right? We sit back and we dream our dreams. And, I think of some of the famous performers in the world and the dreams that they've had and how they've accomplished. Look at the Olympics and all of the things that have occurred over the last 2 weeks. There's an energy moving through life that I call God. And that energy is everywhere. We are one with each other. Because of that oneness, everything that occurs is actually pulling together whatever needs to be together. It's moving us in a direction of possibility. And all of our actions are mental, right? It's like the way I think about life is the way that things move. It is my thinking that makes my world. And so if I'm thinking about God, if I'm thinking about good, if I'm thinking about I need to be in service to humanity with my natural gifts and talents, if that is the premise in which I walk this path, then I am probably going to be successful in whatever it is that I'm doing. The path that we're walking is a spiritual path. It is unique to each one of us. No two people will walk exactly the same path in exactly the same way. I remember reading a sign years ago at a Unity church that said, "One God, many paths." And I think that's really right. I think each of us have been designed to bring something into the world that only we can bring in the manner that we do. And that if we will honor our divine nature, rather than trying to be like somebody else or acceptable to somebody else, if we will just be who God created us to be. Jesus was not the most popular guy. If you'll recall, they crucified him because they didn't like what he was doing. But what was he doing? He was walking his path, honoring his expression of God, and showing everyone around him, all that I do, you can do, and greater things. That's his message. That was his message to us. All that I do, you will do, and greater things than these. So I think it's time. I think it's time for each one of us to step up to the plate, to look in the mirror and see what God created and see it as good and very good. To begin to look in that mirror and go, wow, look what God created. This is awesome. God created this brilliant, remarkable, thinking human being that is here to serve the well-being of all of the people that I come in contact with. And so it is for you as well. And each one of us has a different way of doing that, don't we? I mean, the last year and a half, it's been, those frontline workers who have been there to support our families and friends as they've been ill or dealing with COVID. or dealing with whatever, but coming to a place of stepping up and being sort of that person at the front of the line going, I'm going to care for you even if it might be difficult for me. And I think it was. And through this experience, growth has happened. Growth in many different ways. It's time for us to become powerful thinkers. It's time for us to take creativity and just ramp it up a notch. It's time for us to learn how to speak to God in a way that moves us from our complaining, our criticism, our judgment, our negativity into a place of absolute power and possibility, a place where we can be all that we were created to be. So I'm really, really excited about, where things are going. And I just want to remind anyone who was in my last class, one of the exercises we did was a 21-day consciousness mental diet, where for 21 days you can't say anything negative, you can't think negative thoughts, you're not to judge or criticize. In fact, all negativity, gossip, all of that's off the table for 21 days. And during that 21 days, because the key is to make it 21 days without doing any of that. So I invite you to consider this, to spend the next 21 days, or actually the rest of your life, paying attention to all the thoughts that you think. And when you have a negative thought, the 21 days gets interrupted and you must start over. So I have to say that I think I'm on day 3. I've been trying to do this for months. But it's so easy to get caught up, whether it's in, just a thought about somebody else, like, why would they do such a thing? Or, oh, that guy cut me off in traffic. What a jerk, right? Or, oh man, look at me. I look so tired and worn. And we have these judgments and criticisms that basically say what God has created is broken and flawed. What God created is perfect, whole, and complete. And what God created was you. Perfect, whole, and complete. Just the way you are, with your desires, with your dreams, with your hopes and wishes. God created you and God created me. And we are thinking beings. And it is our thoughts that moves the energy into manifest form. So what am I thinking about that is creating my life, my world? What am I thinking about that's causing discomfort or challenges? What is it that I'm thinking about somebody else that might be harming me? It's really important that we pay attention to our thoughts. Let's be conscious. So I invite you to try the 21-day challenge. But remember, if you do have a negative thought, judgment, criticism, or you start to gossip with somebody, or listening to gossip and going, oh yeah, okay, any of that actually puts you back to day 1. So the minute that happens, you go, oh, okay, I'm on day 1 again. The benefit to this, and I know I mentioned it before, the students who were in my class, many of them said although they had not been able to accomplish the 21 days, what they had accomplished was reducing the amount of negativity in their lives dramatically. There was a huge shift because every time they had a negative thought, they remembered the 21-day challenge. I invite you to love yourself, to accept the way you've been created, knowing that you are in fact exactly as you should be. Doesn't matter your height, your weight, your language, your country of origin, your country of residence, all of it is God stuff. And all of it has brought you to this place where you are adding value to the whole. You're adding value to the universe. What is that value? And are you prepared to give it and give it fully? So, a new way to talk to God. So when we think about talking to God, we're thinking about prayers, right? Okay, God, now what? But there's a way of doing it that's really, I don't know, it's really, really helpful to recognize that God has already said yes. The scripture today is, ask and ye shall receive. Let me just see, I've got it written down here. Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. It's time for us to ask for what we really want, not to settle for something less. Because as we ask for what we really want, as we step into our true power and potential, what happens is we create an energy that shows others they can do this too. That whatever their vision is, whatever their purpose is, whatever their life experience, they can step into it now. So when I talk to God, I want to talk to God like in a positive, productive, affirmative way that allows me to be the powerhouse that I know I'm created to be. So I can talk about, I am health, I am vitality, I am a champion, I am creative, I'm divine, I am loved and I am loving, I am blessed in all ways, I am a child of God, fully functioning within the universal one, creating harmony, love, and peace wherever I go. I invite you to be what God created you to be, to stand tall and proud. Jesus was a rebel. Jesus did not follow the pathway of the priests and stuff. He followed his inner power, the presence and power of God as his guiding force and light. That's all each one of us needs to do. Follow the energy of the divine wherever it may lead. You are created in the image and likeness of God. That means you already are perfect, whole, and complete. Seeing yourself as God sees you, seeing yourself as God has shown us to be, living the life of Jesus the Christ means that I walk the path that is best suited to me, and I honor life wherever I go. And because of that, all is well. God bless you. Namaste.
Here we go. I dance and praise the Lord.
Voices of Praise. Oh, love you guys so much. That was so fun. That was so fun. And yes, we shouted from the mountaintops. Oh, it is that time in our service when we give back of our good. And so I want to invite you to say with me the offering blessing, which is on your screen now. Together, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. All is well, and so it is. And as you prepare your offering today, I invite you to give it with love, knowing that this teaching, this spiritual center is flourishing as a result of your loving attention to it, whether it's financial, in service, or a combination of all. Really, this place has been a gift and a blessing to all of us. And for that, I know I am truly grateful, and I'm sure most of you are as well. Let us look at the number of ways that we can give. We can give, of course, through e-transfer. You can send a donation to admin@veritycentre.org. And you can also donate through Canada Helps by going to Verity Centre for Better Living, Inc. And of course, we can still mail in our offerings or drop them off if you're in the neighborhood. And you can mail them in to 447 Vaughan Road, Toronto, M6C 2 P as in Paul 4. And let us join together in consciousness as we just bless this offering, but also the prayer requests that have come in this week. Please join with me now. As I take a deep breath in, I recognize God as the source, the substance, the creator, the all in the all. And as I recognize God as all there is, I recognize that it too is good. It is with that understanding that I know that the gifts and blessings that have come into Verity are a gift of love, and that although it may take the form of money, it merely is the energy of God in the finances. I know it grows and expands, doubles and triples, that there is a growth and expansion that is absolutely continuous, beautiful, and wonderful. This church provides a remarkable service to the city of Toronto and beyond by being a loving, supportive, guiding place of peace and love and light, and that this day is truly a gift and a blessing. I know too, for the prayer requests that have come in, that health is realized, that love is expressed, and that whatever is needed to fulfill the path of each individual, that happens now with ease, with joy, and with grace. I know that comforting and breathing and taking time to be together is important through any of these challenging situations. So I know today and every day that something beautiful is occurring, and that what's in the highest and best good of each and every individual is realized here and now. For this and so much more, I say thank you. I release these ideas into the law of mind. I know it is done, and all is well. I let it be so, and so it is. And let us say together our prayer of protection. Together, please. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. And so it is. And now our closing song by Voices of Praise with Richard Whiteman. As we are sowing, we are reaping. Please sing along.
As we're sowing, we are reaping. As we're sowing, we are reaping. As we're sowing, we are reaping. Children of the light, sowing seeds of loving kindness, sowing seeds of loving kindness, sowing seeds of loving kindness. Children of the light, sowing now for bright tomorrow, sowing now for bright tomorrow, sowing now for bright tomorrow. Children, back to the top, one more time. As we're sowing,
Thank you, voices of praise.